Gotta believe, Trevor. Gotta believe.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to another team profile and projection here on Talkin' Baseball. Today we're talking about your New York Mets. Voted as the second best team in baseball by our audience, but votes were polled while Carlos Correa was a Met, which might have changed it a lot, might have changed it a little bit, but they are number 2 per fan voting. Jake, did they have an interesting offseason?
Man, they're always interesting now, which is kind of nice for Mets fans. 101 wins last year. They lost to those same San Diego Padres. Took down the Mets and the Dodgers. How about them? Who they added? How about Justin Verlander, Jim? Cy Young winner last year. He's got, like Trev says, he's got new parts in his elbow. He got another 5 years in him now. Jose Quintana, some pitching depth, which will already be tested because he got hurt. Kodai Senga, let's see it, kid. Excited to see what that's all about. D-Rob in the bullpen just got more important. Omar Narvaez behind the dish. Don't sleep on that. Danny Mendick, Tommy Pham for some depth. Brooks Raley in a trade. Eliezer Hernandez for some depth. Couple other pieces. Don't make me say Jimmy Yacobonis riding the bus a couple times this year. Who did they lose?
Who?
Chris Bassett. Favorite signing of the offseason. Taijuan Walker, he's a Philly now. That's fun. Jacob deGrom, he's a Ranger. Remember him? Trevor Williams, Seth Lugo, some good depth guys for them last year. Joely Givens, Trevor May, some bullpen pieces. Dom Smith experiment is over in Flushings. Conforto, he's a giant. James McCann got dumped, as did Chasen Shreve and Tyler Naquin. So, man, it was a big offseason for the Mets. A lot going on. And, Trev, the lineup, it's there.
The lineup is a lot like your Cavs. Yeah. Thick. I like this lineup a lot. Unfortunately, we start off with a little caveat here. Brandon Nimmo, expected to play center field and bat at the top of the lineup. He's hurt. Questionable for opening day. We'll see what happens there, but he's going to be there eventually. Starling Marte will be out in right field. Lindor doing his thing in shortstop. Pete Alonso, Jake's favorite player in the big leagues, will be at first base. Batting champ Jeff McNeil, second base. And then I think we're going to see some funny business at DH, some platoon stuff between Vogelbach and probably Tommy Pham. Mark Canha will be out there in left field. My guy Eddie Escobar will be playing third base. And then between the catchers, we have Omar Narvaez, we have Thomas Nido, we have Francisco Alvarez on his way up. And then some bench pieces, Luis Guillorme, Darren Ruff. I mentioned Tommy Pham before. Lineup's deep. I like the bench. This team's looking really good, especially that rotation. James, what about that in the bullpen?
Yeah, the rotation's got some names and some age. 40-year-old Justin Verlander just won the Cy Young. 38-year-old Max Scherzer just had a hell of a start in spring before we recorded this. Kodai Senga comes over from Japan. He's 30 years old, so he's a young buck. 36-year-old Cookie Carrasco. Quintana is already out. He's got bone graft surgery.
Ow.
Bone graft surgery.
Bone stimulator.
So David Peterson slots up into the rotation for now, is what it says here.
Having a big spring.
Okay.
Yeah.
D-Rob, Adam Ottavino, John Curtis.
More kids out of the bullpen.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, all their bullpen, the youngest person in their bullpen right now listed is, I don't even know if this guy's going to make the roster or not. Mets fans, you know more about your team than us. Dennis Santana, 26.9 years old.
You might not know more than Jolly and Jerry on Shea Station, though.
Yeah, Mets fans, if you want your own little TPPs, but for each individual player, our guys, John Boy Media, podcast Shea Station, have been doing one for every player as they go. So go check those out. And I got to talk to Jolly because I think I said this to him last year.
Say that again.
What?
I got to talk to
I
Jolly.
got to talk to Jolly. I think I said this last year, but, my assignment as the start of the show is to look at the rotation and the bullpen. It's all righties. I know they're good.
No.
I know they're good, but you got 4 out of 5 starters are righties. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 8 relievers are righties. We didn't talk about Edwin, also righty, but who's out, and that sucks. But my only problem with having so many righties is that last year, the 2 teams in the division, the Phillies and the Braves, their lefties had the 4th and 5th highest OPS versus right-handed pitchers in baseball. And they are both top 6 versus righties, no matter what side. But you're looking at 2 teams who got lefties who just crush righties. And yeah, the starters that the Mets have are really, really good. And I don't think that's going to affect them that much. But that bullpen being so righty heavy against those 2 teams, you just need some lefties. Like you got a lot of games against guys that heart of their order is left-handed. On the flip side, I think their lineup has awesome balance, both skill-wise, pop, contact, taking walks. They all get hit by pitch a billion times, and then righty-lefty split. So, I don't know, Jake, you like the lineup?
Man, I was just about to say, we live in New York.
True.
Big reveal. Come find me. No. When I saw the Mets at number 2, I almost did all right. I think the Mets are a class team, but also this was a team that the big bad wolf in their division, the Braves, snuck up on them and snagged them last year. Mm-hmm. And then they lost in the wild card. The more I look at this roster and the depth, man, the people got this right. And I don't think it was Correa driven, because we're talking about all the veterans. Trev, you named them in the lineup. Jim, you mentioned with the pitching. I think this Mets team also has a lurking young core of players between Alvarez, Beatty, Vientos. David Peterson should count in that, man. He's got a chance to be good. Tyler McGill, remember when he was the big talk of last year? And, right now, we don't even know if he would have a spot. That this team has the veteran guys that are going to be there and do their thing. If those veteran guys, because another word for that is age, that we've talked about, should they have health concerns, even though Justin Verlander doesn't have a health concern outside of the Tommy John. They have those depth pieces that, man, I love seeing some of the veterans on the bench. What Darren Ruff can do is just a lefty mauler if you need it. Good. And the other thing that Mets fans have, that if you heard it in our Yankees TPP with kind of those weird clouds I was talking about, the Mets will make the move. They punted on Cano when they still owed him a chunk of money. They punted on McCann before this season because he wasn't living up to expectations. So between the veteran outlets that they have, the young guys that will stumble into opportunities over the course of a baseball season, and if the Mets just need to call on them, God, the Mets are the real deal. And I even think those things, some of the lefties in the bullpen, they got Brooks Riley, who can be really good for you. The Montes de Oca kid, and I might have slaughtered his name. He just got hurt in spring training, but watch a video of that guy pitch. He's from that Camilo Doval school of how do you ever hit this? The Mets are stacked this year, and it's going to be another fun year. And how could it not be, man? And it starts at the top with Uncle Steve, and it's through the whole organization.
Yeah, I mean, the vibes are high with Mets fans. And honestly, the lineup, we're looking at all these lineups. We do all these TPPs, and we just went over the Dodgers. I'm going to get some hate for this one. But they were the first in pretty much every dang category you can think of. The Dodgers were first last year, and offensively, average in OBP, I believe they were. The Mets at 2, right behind them. If I had to choose between those 2 lineups right now, I think I might choose the Mets. I think it's longer. I think there's less outs in the lineup. Not saying the Dodgers are a bad lineup. They're an incredible lineup. We just waxed poetic about them. I took the freaking over on them, okay? This lineup has a chance to be really, really special. If Francisco Alvarez comes up and is an offensive threat, like he has been in the minor leagues, 1 through 9, there's not an easy out in that lineup. And you cannot say that for many teams in the Big East, maybe not any other team. Like this is a deep lineup. They're going to be able to platoon guys where they need to platoon guys, but most of these guys are set in their positions. They know they're going to get at bats, and I really like that too. Like when you have a set team that's going to go in there and do it, more consistent at bats, more plate appearances, this is a very, very strong offensive lineup.
And you got to watch out for the Buck effect. One of the only teams I'll tell you about that with the manager. New rules. I mean, you already saw Scherzer in spring training finding the limits of the pitch clock and all that. There's a manager that's going to tinker and toil with all these new rules and how to get advantage of it. It's Buck. I mean, this is a guy that teaches his players. What was the latest one that I heard about that was in a rundown situation, or say you're the runner on first, ball hit to the second baseman is trying to tag you and then throw to first. That scenario. Buck is teaching all of his players to just hit the deck and get as low as you possibly can, because most of the times the ball is in the throwing hand and not the glove hand. And if you go to review, you'll see that he tagged you with an empty glove and the ball was out of the hand. Like, I think Moylan was telling me about that.
Like they're holding it together.
Like
but
they're
then when
holding
they
it
reach
together.
Down, it'll separate.
Yes. And they can go to review and see that they tagged him with the glove and the ball's out. Like, but we've heard about that about Showalter forever. That like he will find the little nitty gritty like ways to maximize outcome, which is cool. So look out for that. And all the old guys.
Trev, to cover you on the Dodgers comparison, because the Dodgers, have been the regular season class of the National League for 4 years now, if not longer. As we've gone through these top teams, I feel like we've been a little tougher on them, but that's because they're so elite that we're kind of looking for the weaknesses. Like, the Dodgers have things they're going to have to figure out throughout the season between the kids and the veterans who's clicking, and I'm sure it will, but, they're going to have to do that. Same thing with the Yankees. The Mets don't. They have the guys. And when the trade deadline rolls around and all the teams are looking to add, I'm sure the Mets will need something. And do you doubt, they've got the full support of ownership. If Ronnie Mauricio, who's been a kid who's killing it for them as a prospect, if he's got to go to bring the right piece in, shortstop for the Mets is locked up for the next decade. So, this team organizationally, Buck Showalter, you won't find a manager that me and Jim are more locked in on as the dude. Steve Cohen is like the king owner of sports right now. Just talent-wise with veterans and young depth, they're built for it. I don't know. I guess I was kind of coming off of last year with it was a little Metsy, that ending, right? The Braves caught them and then they got beat in that 3-gamer. That was a little Metsy, right? Now re-looking in, it's like, oh shit. I hope the Yankees keep pace with them. Otherwise, our Mets fans are going to get awfully loud in the office this year.
Watch out for the last 3 series of the season for the Mets. They got 7 against.
Schedule watching?
7 against. Well, the rug got pulled out from them at the very end. Big time. So let's watch it again. 7 games against the Phillies. The last 3 series. It's like 4 against the Phillies, then 3 against another team, and then 3 against the Phillies. 4 against the Phillies, 3 against Miami, 3 against the Phils. So don't let it happen again.
Oh my God! Know what we're talking about all year.
They also have at least my perception, harder first half than second half until you get to the end there. Like they got a pretty gnarly stretch in the first half as I was going through it.
Sure.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of things, how good this team is and all the depth they have. Eddie Escobar might get kicked to the bench either to start the year or during the year at some point for Beatty.
They were ready to.
You put him on the bench. That's a great bench piece to have. So everything is going well. You have 4 prospects in the top 100. You have ownership that's willing to spend, make moves. You have veteran guys there, a really stable core of dudes there right now. Everything's going well. But then we got to talk about the elephant in the room. That is Edwin Diaz going out for the season. Best reliever in baseball last year. How do you replace him? And I said David Robertson is my favorite signing. And here we are. I don't know if he's going to be the primary closer. I do know it's probably not going to happen. We're going to have a committee. But him and Ottavino and who else is going to step up? Like that's the question mark for this team. Back into the game, right?
D-Rob will do it. He stepped up when Mo went down after Soriano
Okay,
left.
that's a while ago. But there's no one that respects D-Rob more than me. But I think that's the question mark of this team, and we'd be remiss not to talk about it.
You can navigate it. Having a lights out closer is awesome. It's just less stressful. You've seen teams without lights out closers navigate this and get through the season and trade for one at the deadline if someone comes available. Like it's a huge hit and it stinks the way it happened. It'd be different if, Verlander was out for the season or Scherzer was out for the season. Like you can navigate it. It sucks. It's more stressful. There's going to be a lot more learning early in the season, finding out who is going to be the guy that's going to get this done for you. But whether it be closer by committee, it come the postseason, you want one guy. Regular season, you can navigate it.
And by the way, I think we're kind of ageist and fastballist because D-Rob closed 20 games last year. Like it's not like we're talking about the D-Rob from 2015, who he's not that guy anymore. He saved 34. Like he closed out 20 last year.
Stud.
So, and in the bullpen, things can happen fast. Like Trev, there's literally no smoke or fire to this at all. But we mentioned Tyler McGill's name, and guess what? If he finds himself in the bullpen and that 100-mile-per-hour fastball is working, that's a way to find some outs back there. Like. I'm too hot on him probably because he's just a kid who hasn't put it together yet. But watch the way Dayoka throws the ball. That's
Dayo.
That's you don't hit it if he throws it over the plate the right way. So, you wonder it would be really funny if that became a clear Achilles heel early, and they were really searching for something out there. Could they go out and address it? But yeah, I mean we're talking about MLB vets out there that. There's going to be someone who figures it out, and they'll be good. And then hopefully the fun storyline becomes if Edwin can somehow make it back for the end of this season, my goodness.
You should throw it out there because we talked about it before the show. Over under Tommy Hunter saves this year for the Mets. I'm going to put it at a half.
Under.
You think under? Okay.
You
sound
Tommy
off
Hunter.
in the comments.
What about this stretch in June? Calendar watch.
Okay.
Phillies, Blue Jays, Braves, Pirates. There you go. That's an easy.
Oh, tough Pirates.
Okay, so Phillies, Blue Jays, Braves, Pirates, Yankees, Cardinals, Astros, Phillies, Brewers. That's a tough June.
That's a 500 June.
Those teams are all looking at having to play the Mets as tough on the other half. But, man, I think you like that month in June rather than August, but that's a tough June.
You hope that's a 500 June. That's tough.
Mets are good, so yeah, but stay above 500. I don't know how many of them are road games.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, wait a minnit.
Wait a minute. Trev wants to wait a minute.
I went straight to the over/under. I wanted to see what it's going to be.
Okay.
Have you looked at it?
I have not.
It's 91.5.
Tough division.
It's a tough division.
Easy over for me.
Yeah, it looks really easy. I don't like when it looks really easy. You know that.
I'm going to bet it right now.
I'm taking the over, too.
Take the over on that. They're pretty good.
Over. Sometimes you got to run and place the bet before people figure it out.
After going over that roster and seeing that number, it's an easy over for me.
Ooh.
And I get things happen. Things happen during the season, sure. But right now, if you're looking and trying to project, taking the over.
Forgot that Gonzaga over cash last night. Yeah, I mean we're placing that right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my normal unit $10,000.
Division winner, no. Regular season wins, yes.
Jake's Bitcoin is running right now. So
do we need to say anything about the division? I know we've run through it a lot. The Phillies added Trey Turner and have a chance to be better than last year. The Braves are, they've kind of been their big bad wolf. They won 101 last year. Where does that line come from? Because how many games? The Mets won 101 last year. Is that the Phillies and Marlins getting better? I just don't. I don't know.
That line?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just punkin Mets fans?
Just pumpkin Mets fans. Pumpkin Mets fans?
We're all on the over.
I'm
We're all going to cash it.
I'm trying to find it.
I cashed it. Regular season wins.
Okay.
Team futures.
Team futures.
Flushings.
That's the episode then. See ya. Thanks for watching. Go Mets, go.
I love Alonso.
Well, he's awesome.
Did you see how big of a salute he wanted to give the salute, the Team USA salute, so bad, and then he got that hit, and he like. That's who he is.
He's a big, strong guy. He's not gonna dink around with his salute.
Like that's the proudest he's ever been in his life that he got a hit for Team USA.
I wish your face was right in front of his salute. Just got punched.
Just cracked.